This is one of the hardest videos I've ever had to record before, but it's also one of the most important ones. Maybe this is the wake-up call that I needed. I don't know. I told myself if I was going to start this channel, I was going to do it right and I was going to be 100% raw and 100% real. My weight gain has been the biggest insecurity that I have been personally going through for a decade. But I'm done hiding it. I'm so sick and tired of me kind of like avoiding it. It's time for me to kind of hit it head on. So my weight gain didn't really start overnight. I have been struggling with this my whole entire life. And I'm going to show you guys live pictures and timestamps throughout the years. But I've definitely noticed there's been stages in my life that things have gotten way worse. Growing up as a child, I wasn't necessarily overweight. So I want to consider myself a healthy, like thick child, if that kind of makes sense. But I was never too skinny and I was never too overweight. Then going into middle school, I definitely started getting a little bit chubbier. I definitely started seeing like the roundness in my face, but it still wasn't too bad. I wasn't necessarily like obese or super overweight. When I went into high school, obviously those were like my best years. I looked great. I would never forget like my freshman, sophomore, junior year. I was the tiniest I think I've ever been. I was very active as well. I was going out a lot with my friends, living life. I mean, who doesn't when they're in high school? I have so many pictures to show you guys. I didn't really eat healthy per se, but I guess when you're at that age, your metabolism is just a little bit different, and truly I felt confident. And what's crazy is that I have never in my life been like a skinny girl, right? But even me in high school, the way I looked, I would kind of like judge myself and be like, my body doesn't look the same as my other friends that are super skinny and super fit. Like, why do I have such big thighs? Why do I have like a rounder face? But I was still confident at the same time, so it wasn't too bad. When I left high school, that's when things started getting a little bit crazy. I didn't have such an active routine anymore. I was kind of like getting my first job. It was my first sitting down in like a desk job, which was horrible, by the way. You guys will learn from me, and maybe I'll make a whole nother episode on that. But my life, I mean, I'm only 32 years old, but I have gone through so many changes of careers that I think I could write a book. I've been to different schools. I've had different jobs. Like when I tell you left field, you know. But one of my first jobs out of high school was definitely a sit down desk, and I'll never forget, I had like a crazy manager that she would always order like takeout, and I guess I was so young and I really wanted to like grow, and I didn't even know what growing was in an actual company, but whatever. I used to like sit down and eat with her every single time, and it got to a point that I think it was my grandfather that told me, he's like, hey, you know, you're putting on some weight pretty quick ever since you started working at the dealership. Is like, are you okay? Is it hormonal, or are you going through something that we don't know about? And I will never forget that the day that he told me that is when it all clicked. Because obviously, like, if they're paying for my lunch, I'm eating chicken wings one day, burgers the next day. It was never healthy food, you know? So that was weird. And that definitely opened up my appetite. Fast forward to like maybe I was 20, 21 years old. I was definitely getting a little bit fuller. I was getting chunkier. And then I ended up getting pregnant at the young age of 22 years old. Now, this is weird because usually people's stories, like with their first time pregnancy, I've heard different stories, but usually people gain like a whole bunch of weight. It's their first pregnancy or any pregnancy in general. And that actually wasn't my case. My pregnancy journey was also insane. I will definitely talk about that in a whole nother episode, but it was insane. Health wise and weight gain wise, I had a pretty good pregnancy. I really didn't even gain weight. I even remember when I got up to my second trimester when I was 6 months, that the doctor would even tell me, he's like, oh, are you having cravings? Because I wasn't gaining weight. I was still a thick girl, but truly, I didn't gain weight. When I went to my last trimester, I remember that's when I started picking up some weight. But in reality, I think it was a maximum of like 25 to 30 pounds. It still wasn't anything crazy. So then in 2016 in March, I gave birth to my amazing and beautiful son. And that is when everything went crazy. My goodness, the health issues I had right after giving birth. Number one, I went through this crazy skin disorder that I still suffer from. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it in my other videos on my crafty DIY small business page. If you've really ever noticed, I'm always constantly in long sleeves. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Even though I live in Miami, Florida, where it is insanely hot every single day, but you'll catch me that I'm always in long sleeve shirts. Why? Because I have this skin condition. I'll show you here. I have this skin condition that's called lichen lichen scoliosis, something like that. I don't know. We'll definitely talk about it a different time, but pretty much I have it all in this right arm and it goes all the way to my back shoulder blade, but it's like this discoloration. It feels really dry. Honestly, it just looks really ugly to me. I know it's nothing out of this world and I shouldn't worry about something like this. There's people who have way worse like situations and medical conditions, but you know, as a young girl, I was always like, oh my god, this is so ugly. I can never wear a tank top again. I can never wear this and that again, whatever. So that kind of like stuck with me. And plus, people are weird and they're always staring at my arm, and a lot of people think that I got burned, or they'll ask me questions and I have to explain the whole spiel, and sometimes I just want to avoid doing that. I give birth to my son, and not only did I have so many skin issues, then that's when the weight started piling on. It was so abnormal. When I tell you, friends, it wasn't just like, you know, a quick 10-15 pounds. I was just gaining weight and gaining weight and gaining weight. I gave myself some grace. I waited those 6 months to see, maybe it's just my hormones. Even my OBGYN told me, he's like, have some patience, give yourself some grace. You know, your hormones have to get back on track. You had a baby at a good age, but still pretty young. So give yourself some grace and just wait it out a little bit. That's where I went wrong. I waited it out too much. I delayed it. I should have started checking on myself like literally 6 months after. But the weight just kept on coming on and coming on and coming on. And then I started noticing every time I would weigh myself, it was another 20 pounds, another 10 pounds, another 15 pounds. I gave birth to my son. I will never forget the last appointment in my OBGYN. Before giving birth to my son, I was weighing 273 pounds, okay? I know that's a really big number, but keep in mind, I am 5'8". I'm a pretty tall girl and big built. And I think when I started my pregnancy, I was already like at 240 or 250. I was already gaining weight, you know? But that's me with a 9-month baby in me, 273 pounds, right? When I gave birth to Junior, I'll never forget, I dropped immediately. Like, I think I went down to like 260. So like that first 10 pounds or whatever, which I think it was just my son in general and his fluid. But then instead of me like continuing to lose weight, I just kept on gaining weight. And I couldn't get out of the 280s. And then I went to 290s. And then I finally hit the 300 mark. I will never forget, I think when Junior was like 3 years old, this was probably back in 2019 era. That's when the keto diet got like so famous and so crazy. And I'll never forget, I was already dating Oscar at the time, so we did it together. And I lost a lot of weight with that keto diet. I didn't do it for a long time, but I did it for like, I think 60 days, like 2 or 3 months. And I lost like 40 pounds. And for me, when I do lose weight, it shows immediately. So I remember I was feeling myself so much. I was so happy. Oscar had dropped so much weight too. Well, you know how men are. They always drop weight so fast. But I was so happy because I noticed like, wow, this is really working for me. Maybe it is the sugar. Maybe this keto diet is something I should do forever. Way easier said than done. It gets to a point that you get a little bit sick and tired of eating so much protein and so much cheeses and high fat avocados. Like, I was missing just eating something crunchy and stuff. And maybe I didn't educate myself well, and I didn't really do the diet how I was supposed to. We kind of just followed YouTube and like I think Instagram posts of keto people, but still I had lost so much weight. Then we stopped doing the keto diet. I started eating carbs again, and I blew up pretty quick. Now, since I was like maybe 28 to now I'm 32, I've been yo-yo dieting. I've been trying other different type of programs. I did Weight Watchers. I even did those injections, the Monjoro injections, but unfortunately my insurance plan doesn't cover it, of course, because I am not diabetic. And by all means, I do feel like those medications, if they're needed for diabetics, it should be given to them first. But you know, the way that I was gaining weight, like, I'm not just a 20-pound heavy girl. I am 100 pounds overweight, you know? So if I keep on going the way I'm going right now, maybe my blood work doesn't say I have diabetes or high cholesterol, but maybe next year I'm a full-on diabetic. So, you know, I tried my hardest with my insurance plan to try to get it approved. And then one day I went to the pharmacy and they were like, okay, well, if you want to pick it up. I think I was only on it for like 3 months, and it was going pretty well for me. But then the pharmacy came up to me and they were like, oh, okay, so do you want to pick up your refill? And I was like, yes, obviously. And I remember the pharmacist looking at me like I was insane. And then she told me it's $1,200. And I was like, what? Who is paying that? I told her I was paying $25 copays. What happened? And she told me ever since January 1st, insurance plans are very strict now. This is only for diabetic patients unless you have that diagnosis. So forget about that. It's not that I can't afford it, because technically it's my health and I do, make multiple sources of income. I try my hardest. I hustle everywhere. But sometimes I get kind of like, I don't want to say angry and greedy, but kind of, I'm like, damn, I work so hard to make extra income, to make this a business, to do content creation. Like, content creation is not for the weak. You're going into this blinded. You're not promised anything. You're not promised a contract. You're not promised to make money on TikTok or promised huge checks from YouTube. I'm actually still in my beginning phases. Maybe I have a huge following in TikTok, but on YouTube, I'm pretty much a newbie, So I'm trying to build this, and I'm investing so much money in different things and equipment and mics and long hours. And it's like the little monies that I do get from social media right now, I don't want to just blow it off on like self-paying for this medication. Do I sound crazy? Sometimes when I say that out loud, I do feel like I sound crazy, and I feel like maybe I should put my health first and just buy it. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments. Maybe I'm overthinking it. I don't know. But moving forward. So right now, it's the year of 2025. Today is June 18th, a Wednesday. And as of current day, I am weighing a whopping 314 pounds. And what's really sad is that this is not even the heaviest I have ever been. My heaviest check-in and weigh-in was 323 pounds. And I remember that day I freaked out. Like, I just didn't eat the whole weekend. I was so like crazy because I started thinking, I cannot believe I'm even 300 pounds. So for the past couple of years, me getting up to the 300s and kind of like staying there for a while, especially since I turned like 30, I started seeing a difference in myself. Even when I was already starting to gain weight and I was still in like the mid 200s, even though I was already a bigger girl, I was gaining weight, obviously. I always had my makeup done. I always had my hair done. I wouldn't even go to Publix without makeup or hair done, because I was always really self-conscious, but in a good way. Like, my self-esteem was still good, and I like to look good. I like the process of putting on makeup. I love the process of curling my hair. It's not like something that I don't know how to do, and it's something that I enjoy doing. It's kind of like a therapy for me. But I noticed that ever since I turned 30 and I stayed at the 300s, I just stopped wearing makeup. I completely stopped. Like, how you see me now is a miracle of God, because I'm really trying to put my little effort in every single day. But I stopped doing my hair. Like, my hair crazy like this, yeah, right, my hair would have been like either pin straight or with waves or curls, like really polished and well done. I just stopped. And one thing I noticed is, like, I stopped looking at myself in the mirror. That scares me. And I know this sounds crazy, and I'm going to be very forward with all of you. This past 2 years, not only has it affected, obviously, my self-esteem, it's affected my relationship with Oscar, which is my fiance. It's affected, I feel like, even the way that I show up as a mom. I know this sounds so cliche, but I've always wanted, and I've always pictured myself being a mom that was, always put together, always participating in her son's school. Like, I want my son to have that experience. I had that growing up. My mother and my grandmother were always put together, very nice. And I still remember that. Like, them going to my school and my teachers and my friends saying, oh, your mom is so pretty, your grandma's so nice. And, that's getting to me. Always, with every opportunity, I am always in my son's school, right? Because I love to participate. I do a whole bunch of arts and craft projects for them. But I started noticing, like, I would still go and participate, but I look like crap. My hair was always like messy like this or in a bun. I wouldn't put makeup on. I would just show up, and sometimes people look at me, and I'm sorry to say it, people do treat you different with the way you carry yourself and the way you look. Because I've truly experienced that hands-on, okay? I'm going to tell you guys a little crazy story about me and Oscar going to a very bougie store in Saks Fifth Avenue. This happened last year. I remember I was celebrating my 100K followers on TikTok, and I told Oscar, you know what, I'm gonna treat myself and I'm gonna buy myself a nice little bag, right? I think I deserve it. I've burned myself, with TikTok, posting TikToks, editing. I'm a one woman show. Nobody helps me. It's all me. Again, last year I was still feeling the way I am now. And I remember I didn't put makeup on. I kind of had my hair like this. Another bad thing about my weight gain is I kind of stopped buying clothes. Doesn't that sound crazy? Like, I live in sweatpants. I don't buy new jeans. I don't buy, because I can't believe the sizes that I'm buying. It messes with me, depresses me every time that I go shopping. So whatever. So my normal outfits is like this sporty leisure wear that's kind of comfortable, and sweatpants, sweatsuits, things like that. So I kind of went into Saks Fifth Avenue with a nice pair of sweatpants and like a long sleeve crafty shirt. I will never forget, the first store I went into was Christian Dior, right? Because I was thinking of getting just like a tote bag or something like that. And they're expensive over there. And I remember I walk in and none of the sales reps talk to me. Okay? That store, I went on a weekday. There was nobody else there. It was just me and another woman that looked, of course, like head to toe with like brands on and stuff, and they were helping her. But when I walked in, I never even got a hello, a welcome. Nobody came up to me to ask if I needed help with anything. And if you've ever been to like one of these big brand stores, they always do that, because pretty much like their sales are like their commission. I think Oscar started noticing too that nobody was like going up to me. I even remember me touching a bag that was on display and like looking at the price tag, like preparing myself. I was gonna buy it, and I will never forget that still nobody would go up to me. I got so offended because another woman walks into the store. This is a third woman. And they were like, hello, welcome, let me help you, ma'am. Again, she had like this beautiful jewelry on. She had a nice dress on, a huge big bag. So what better way and what better example can I tell you guys that people do treat you differently when you start, dressing yourself or looking a different way? Now, that doesn't mean that you have to look like you're going on a freaking runway model, right? Like every single day, but just to show you kind of how that impacted me. So obviously I felt very uncomfortable, and so did Oscar, so we left. And what's crazy is I went across the store. I went to Louis Vuitton, and I remember I went in and they were so nice to me. Like, even though I looked like crap, they were like, hello ma'am, let me help you. Do you want a glass of water? Well, a water bottle. And they started asking me like what I was looking for, this and that. And guess what? I ended up buying a $3,500 bag from there. And I wasn't really expecting to do that. I just wanted to spend like $1,000 or $2,000 on a tote bag. But, I felt so good. I was so proud of myself. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get myself this bag because I deserve it, right? And the way they treated me, it's like they didn't just see me for how I was looking. They saw me as a potential customer, whatever. So that's like a quick storyline, completely out of range, but whatever. What I'm trying to say is that over the years, I have 1,000% lost my spark. I was always somebody that would walk into a room and would like just brighten up the whole room. I've never been scared of no man or no woman. I've never been scared to start up a conversation. I've never been scared to make a joke. I've never been scared to ask questions or to answer questions. I've always been a pretty nice and big personality, but the way I have been feeling these past 2 years, I feel like I'm this small. So not only am I losing my confidence, I felt like I lost my voice, I lost my spark, I lost a lot. So why am I speaking about this now? Why did I open up a whole brand new YouTube page about this? I'll be honest with you. I am so committed to my social media stuff on my other main page of Annie Crickets DIY, and I'm so committed. I treat this as if it's like, like my baby, right? And I show up every single day for the Annie Cricket world, and I'm always thinking of brand new things for all of my crafting community and my small business owners. So I one day sat down and I thought to myself, why am I only pouring this into my small business, of course, and my following, but why can't I just get a little bit from that cup and pour it back into me? So this is not like a comeback for a diet or a comeback for a makeover or a comeback for a Louis Vuitton bag. This is truly a comeback of myself. I want to feel like myself. I want to feel healthier. I want to go to a park with my son and not be like super out of breath after walking too fast with him. I want to be able to wake up with a little bit more confidence every single day and feel good about myself and look at myself in the mirror and feel confident in myself and have that little bit of drive to do my hair, do my makeup. I also want to lay down at night with my fiance and feel more confident and feel more like myself and sexy or whatever you want to call it. I want that part of me back. Becoming a mom doesn't mean that you have to lose yourself. If anything, having my son was truly the biggest blessing of my life. He changed my life for the better 1,000%. I don't blame the weight gain or the whole skin ordeal on my pregnancy or on him. I just blame myself for not checking on myself sooner, whether it was with doctors or mentally with a therapist. However I had to go around this, I regret not doing that. I deserve to feel good about myself again. And if you guys are going through this as well, and if there's anybody watching out here, if there's anybody watching that is going through something similar to me or could relate in any way, I hope that you hear this message as your sign too. You deserve to feel good about yourself. I know that we're moms or we're wives or we're fiancés or we're dog moms or we're full-time employees or we're full-time small business owners or we're just trying to figure out life, but we can't keep on putting everybody in front of us. We have to have some time for ourselves, and we have to understand like, okay, I could give you my all, but I deserve to love myself as well. And I have to pour into my cup as well. This was so crazy to talk about. I still can't believe that I'm literally posting this publicly for the whole world to see. But this is the only way that I was going to keep myself accountable. If you're on your own type of healing journey or self-love journey, drop a heart down below in the comments. Whatever you want to share, this is between us here. This is going to be our community. Taking this step by step. We're not running, we're walking. So every single Tuesday or Wednesday night, I'll be here with something new to talk about. I'll start giving you guys some updates. I think this weekend I'm going to do a trip on Aldi's and probably Costco and Publix. And I want to try for the first time ever me doing like kind of like a meal plan for the whole week. What usually happens to me, guys, is that I go crazy because I want to lose weight and I go to Publix and I spend $400 on like healthy veggies and fruits, a month's worth of like groceries, and guess what? They all go bad. I never end up eating them and I still end up going out to eat. So I'm doing things a little bit differently this time. I'm only gonna buy enough food for a Monday through Friday. I'm gonna start off with that. So this Saturday I'll go shopping. Let me know if I should vlog that and show you guys what I'm buying. I did some really good research on like easy pace, beginning to eat healthier type of, not diet, like a lifestyle type of thing. I found that on a really good Pinterest post, and let me know if you guys want me to vlog that. Give myself those 5 days that usually I'm ordering Uber Eats almost every one of those days. I want to do my own easy, very easy, not too much cooking, homemade meals. I have to be realistic here. I don't have time to like wake up every single day and spend 3 hours cooking for every single meal. That's just not in my lifestyle right now. I work, I have my small business, I do my content creation. Sometimes I need things, and that's why I reach to Uber Eats so much, because I don't even have to do any work. I just put in my order and my food's here in 30 minutes, you know? I'm very, very excited for that though. If you could relate in any way to this whole entire, I guess, vlog, podcast type of style video, make sure to like drop down a comment, or you could like this video, subscribe, put your notification bells on. So like that, every time I post, you guys could see it firsthand and we could talk about things. And again, I am so grateful for every single one of you, whether you're just watching, whether you're kind of gaining that courage, whether you feel a little inspired or you want to join me in this journey. I'm just grateful for you guys in general. So thank you so much for the support. Maybe this is a wake-up call that I needed. Love you guys.